Hey everyone, welcome back to High Heels to Happy Feels. I'm Stephanie,
And I'm Natalie.
and this week we're going a little off the cuff. So, Natalie and I are big old soccer fans. Natalie is rabid soccer fan, and watching FIFA and watching, the World Cup events has brought up so many conversations with us about not just soccer, but the community around soccer, how people are emotionally reacting to soccer. I mean, it's religious. It's a religious experience, right?
Yeah, I don't, it's kind of that realization that I don't think that sports are really always about sports. I think it's more like about the people in the sports. So it's like just fascinating what people are willing to emotionally invest in.
Completely. Keep going.
Well,
Sorry.
well, no, I just think like, and maybe it has nothing to do with it being in the United States because we always watch World Cups, whether it's men's or women's, or like we're into soccer, football as a sport.
Right.
But all of the kind of unfolding of everybody that has become so invested and the players we've become invested in, like the Norway team who just lost to England.
Boo.
Right, right. But like just getting behind them and everybody being excited about the people that they are. It was just interesting to see people come together.
You know what was so fun about that too? Because you and I, of course, US fans always huge Bundesliga fans, which is German team, and because our roots are deeply embedded in Germany and England because the rest of our roots are England, right? We're
Well, and the
Scandinavian.
oldest
Yeah,
almost played for Bundesliga, so
right. Well, yes. And my nephew was asked to go over and have
they were
conversations with
scouting anyway, yeah.
Bundesliga. And I'm like, I could still cry about
Right.
that. And I told him so. I was like, why? We could have been in Germany. But anyway, I digress. But the thing is, you and I and mom have become huge Norway fans. I
Mhm.
mean, frickin' Braut Holland, Erling Braut Holland. If you don't know who that is for Norway, he's a 6'5" blonde Viking. There's no other way. And it has been such a kick in the pants to watch how they energize people. They're rowing, right? Their little Viking row, how it's been on all the little national news channels. It's been I mean, he has 62 million freaking followers on Instagram because of this. 62
Well,
million.
and we have to give it up though for our mom before
Oh yeah,
like
she was a
the
huge fan before we were.
we actually watch Man City because we remember like Holland when he was on the Dortmund days and then he moved over to
Yeah.
Like she's been following him, so like he wasn't new to us, but it was great to see his base grow just because of who he is.
Yeah.
And just soccer in general, all the people who get involved, people who don't even care normally about that sport, just to
Right.
watch everybody get involved and like why do the strangers matter so much? Like everybody just gets so emotionally invested into it.
Completely. And they And yes, mom's huge Holland fan.
Yeah.
And so shout out to Holland from my mother. And yes, I mean, and so we've been watching him, but this was so much fun. And the
Mhm.
emotion around it, watching these little kids wear Viking hats. They're looking up where Norway is. They're looking up where England is. They're looking up, where all these countries are that are visiting us. I mean, watching the Japanese fans go through and clean up the stadium, we're all
Yeah.
like, wow. I mean, it just made such an impression. And then we make an impression on them with ranch dressing. I mean, the weirdest things that were all brought together in this awesome weeks. And we still have a little bit more time left, thankfully. But it's to watch how that's all unfolded, but it brings hope. I love how it brings a huge community, huge highs, huge lows. Like you said, tears over a team that you don't know anybody on that team. Hell, the
Right.
last time you cried, I mean, might have been when a puppy died when you were 5 or something, right? I mean, you maybe haven't cried forever, but yet you're like upset because a team that you weren't rooting for, didn't know anything about 4 weeks ago, just lost the World Cup.
Well, and So that just brings to mind like everybody who's jumped on the underdog story. Like Norway was the underdog for lots of their games.
Yeah,
And again, they ended today. We don't need to keep going over that, but it was like 20 minutes ago, folks. So I'm still
it's still fresh. It's still raw.
it's still fresh, right? Like not that I had any skin in the game, but anyway, but like the whole underdog story, it kind of brings us all in because somewhere in our lives, like it just, or maybe this is just me, but I kind of see myself in that because of being underestimated. Like, so it gives us that hope. We see, I don't know. I know that's a little bit crazy, but it gives us permission to believe in our own story
Yes.
because they're the underdog. You can believe in them. Their story is not finished. We just kind of pick it up from, where they were.
And it's fun because it turns into a whole it's unity, right? All of a sudden you're
Yeah.
part of that team. It's like we won. We nothing. I'm on a couch in Northwest Montana screaming at the television. But
Yeah.
we win. We lose. We win.
Well,
It,
belonging is like one of the deepest needs.
absolutely. It's huge, right?
So,
Just that feeling of needing to belong. I-
right. So when they win, we win.
Right?
We're all in, which people get really passionate about, even if it is only temporary. But that still like, then we live on that edge of hope.
And that's just it. I mean, we continued to. I mean, Canada, the US, Mexico, all the host countries for this World Cup, we're out. I
Yeah.
mean, we none of us made it to to the semis. And so as you look at that and go, okay, well, everyone picked up another team. I mean, no one quit watching that I'm aware of. I don't know anybody that quit watching. If anything, it bolstered viewing because it's like, okay, well, now I'm going this way, right? I'm going
Right.
to go over here and root for Norway, for England, for Switzerland, for Argentina with Messi playing. I mean, that game is going to be this evening, right? With Switzerland and Argentina. So, like you said, it's all about the possibility. And I
It
think
is.
that
But
is
you're mentioning all the teams in all the countries again, and it brings me back to your ranch topic because now that I'm sat with it, I'm like, Norway, Japan, like all these countries bring their humanity and they bring their ideals and their tidiness and just how they operate. And what do we bring? Ranch.
right.
I mean, I didn't know we
Ranch.
were gatekeeping ranch to begin with, but I wish we could have brought in something a little. I mean, the US is the US, and I know that the countries, there's a lot of them that are really enjoying like the hospitality and understanding that we aren't just what they see on social media, which has
Or
been
the politics, praise
that
God.
has
Yeah,
been really good for the United States to not be seen as the head Cheeto in charge. Like that's not what
exactly.
most of us agree to. Yeah,
Right. Totally.
but ranch is our thing. Like they're out there cleaning stadiums and
I know.
doing the
And we
good work.
bring ranch and figure out God love Hidden Valley or Kraft or whoever it was that hurried up and got it bottled right so that it'd be sold on the other side of TSA so they could take a bottle home.
Right. I,
And they're like, woohoo, we're loaded up on ranch dressing and we're like,
Hidden
yeah.
Valley, Wishbone, man, they're in there getting into the
Oh
TSA.
boy, they're probably going to be more bummed than anybody else when this is over. They're just they
Right.
made their number for like next 2 years. They're covered. Yeah, happy days. Yeah. But now, I mean, it's opened up the whole world in terms of marketing. And for those that have never traveled overseas and recognizing, for example, when you do go to England for that French fries would be served with a side of mayo. Not that I eat ranch either, but at the same time,
Right.
appreciating the little things, I guess. And I think I just I just love how inspired everybody's been. I mean, going and watching, like you said, even the players' social medias and following along with their videos and different things and what they're getting from this and the joy. They're genuinely treating this like it's a little vacation and they're going, look at what these people are doing. This is so much fun. Oh my gosh, what a blast. Minus the heat, but
Yeah, well, and it is, and I'm so glad like everything like it's got us closer to our oneness. Like when we do Hope Circle, which folks, that's this Thursday, I think, isn't
yep,
it?
this Thursday.
So when we do Hope Circle, like we're trying to bring that humanity feeling together and to everybody kind of rise their vibration for all of the world, for themselves, for like whatever their purpose is. But that's the kind of feeling. And I love like everybody watching soccer, we kind of live in that feeling. The other thing that I thought was really good about these games, and so both my kids played soccer, one played semi-professional. And they always said that their coaches were always telling them about being a goldfish, like never you have to live in the present moment. You can't go back to the play you just screwed up or the header that you just missed or you whiffed on the ball or you didn't catch it when you were a goalie or like all of those things that happened. You have to stay present and you can't play three, plays in advance. You have to think like right here in this moment. And I think that was really representative of FIFA as well,
Yeah, agreed.
which teaches us a lot about staying in our present moment. So I,
Huge.
I know that was really
No, but you
theoretical.
know, it took me to like, okay, so Ted Lasso, when that message came up and he was telling the team, be a goldfish, right? And they
And
were,
that's
and
not a
and
that's
we're
not a joke.
laughing
Like
because it's just like, oh my God, they say it, right? At
they
least they're,
do.
I mean, they're using real lines and things that are done in soccer, football. And it's so much fun because it's such a great reminder for all of us to be a goldfish.
Well, and it also like really highlights there are things that you just can't control in life. Like
Mhm.
we can't control the weather in the game, the crowd, the ref, the other team. Like you can't control how other people are going to act or if the ref is going to give a red card and shouldn't or like however that
Or
unfolds
should give something and didn't.
and
Hello.
didn't or should
Or
have
didn't
called.
review a VAR today, for example. Yeah.
Right, like, we could go on about some of the things we've seen in this treacherous FIFA playing. Anyway, or the president who calls and says that wasn't a fair. Anyway, where am I
Yeah.
going? You get
Right?
what I'm saying though, like understanding that life is you are still going to move on. There's things you can't control. You have to be responsible again for being present, being where you're at and moving forward because you can't control the crowd, the other team, the ref, all of that stuff.
Hey there. Every week, Natalie and I talk about our soul pillars on our High Heels to Happy Feels episodes. I would highly encourage you head to immersivespirit.com/soul pillars and check out these free tools. There's different things you can download to learn more about interacting with your body, heart, mind, and spirit, and how easy it is to develop your intuition, even at a much higher level with these free tools. We've loved creating them. We really hope you'll take advantage of them. They are free. immersivespirit.com/soul pillars. And now back to high heels to happy feels. And it's interesting because it's such a, you know, the sports part of it amplifies your emotions. But you think
Hmm.
about it, it's every aspect of our life, right? And it's the same thing, like you're talking about with, I mean, be the goldfish could almost just be the whole thing around this entire podcast because sports, news, politics, you know, problems we're having at home in our jobs, whatever it might be, our nervous system doesn't know the difference there. So I'll ask you, and we're just totally spitballing this weekend. We're having a good time with it, but we don't even really have any bullets. So just bear with us. But I'll ask you, give me some examples that you would think of that we could use for our soul pillars,
Oh, wow.
right? So thinking of like, I don't know,
Okay.
the mind.
Yeah. So, like, what story is your mind telling you while you're watching? Like, are you catastrophizing every missed opportunity? Or are you convinced you know how it's going to end? Um, like, just notice where your mind does something that you really aren't certain about, but your mind like solidifies around it because you're creating a story when you actually don't know what's going to be true. And that tells you a lot about where you are in your mind.
That's good. That's really
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
that's an interesting. So what
Right?
what what do you think?
Well, no, I mean, I love that. And I'm just thinking like with heart, because if I'm going, thinking about it from that perspective, and the mind you could kind of put in here too, because when we're watching something like that, we're not
Hmm.
thinking about anything else, right? Our heart is in it. We are screaming at that TV. All of our emotions are flowing. I mean, we're really feeling it through everything, right? I don't know about spirit, but our mind, our body, our heart, we're all just thumping through this, watching these games, watching things happen. Nothing else is happening in that moment until you're at a water break. And then you go,
Right.
oh, all right. Commercial TV break. Some really loud birds. And then you um back in it and really thick. And I think that is such a good reminder of to just again, it's kind of the fish thing, but to be present. Because when your heart is like in that moment, you're not having time to stress about anything else. You're not thinking about anything else. You're living in that moment. You're involved. You're deeply invested. And there's something to be said for that in anything we're doing. And I don't know if
Yeah.
it's a great heart example, but when you are living passionately about anything, you're invested in it, right? You're just like, I am all into this, man. I'm in it. I'm going to scream at this guy and this person, and I'm there.
Yeah. That's like what makes your heart so open? What do you actually care about? Why do you celebrate with strangers? Like all of those things that you can watch for and see. And another really poignant thing to think about with related to FIFA and soccer and everything that's happened is like, why do our emotions get so big? Like,
Mm.
and we go to stadiums and watch both our women's and our men's team here in Colorado now that we have a women's team, and they're amazing.
Woohoo! Go Summit.
Yeah, exactly. Lindsay Heaps Horan just became our captain. She was playing anyway. We're back into the podcast. So I'm talking about why emotions get so big. When you walk into a stadium, the rowing, like the row, or
Oh,
when they're doing a corner kick and everybody's clapping along, and then you get faster and faster and faster. Like we're all beating as kind of one heart, and
uh-huh.
it's a resonance that happens, and we're affected by the other people who are around us. So when you'll notice in sections where there's somebody who's really loud mouth or cussing or really upset about something, you can see that happen.
Yeah.
Like it resonates into everybody else, and until like somebody gets a cap on, they're like, hey, let's calm this down. Same thing happens with the team momentum. Like when things are going in one direction, they've had a really great score and they're on the target to hit another one. You can feel the momentum. When the team's scoring, you're like, you could feel that coming
Yeah.
because you could feel the momentum. You can also feel it like when fear happens. And I think
Absolutely.
that kind of brings us back to like, the immersive spirit stuff is what do you resonate with? What do you allow to grow that you are not controlling that you should?
Hmm.
And where in your life can you resonate with others in a positive way?
I think that is so true. And it's when you think about our body, that's a really good example, right? That somatic feeling, that whole
Hmm.
the intuition that we all have and all of these abilities that we already, it's not a gift. You have it. And but you just know. You're like, you can feel the buildup, you can feel the excitement, you can feel the pulse. You just know that the next person headed down here is going to score, or
Yeah.
this is going to be, or this is going to shift, or whatever it might be. But you absolutely feel it. And like you said, when you're feeling it as a full collective in that way, I think that is um incredibly impressive because
Yeah.
it's you can take it as a community mentality or you can take it as a mob mentality, depending upon where you are. And so if you choose to take that and that high emotion and the good emotion and the positive flow that's going with it, you got your heart roaring and thumping and your mind's in it and you're excited and you take it as, okay, this is community involvement. How do we press this forward, right? And I think there's something to be said about that momentum from what FIFA's done in terms of how we can turn that around in our own lives, using it in our own communities, whether it's in our jobs, whether it's in a political movement, whether it's, in your own self-development with a community that you're working with, right? Even town
Right.
square, like with immersive spirit. And as we continue to evolve together and run, yeah. I mean, I think I'm going a little stray there, but I love having that whole, how this whole FIFA thing just is every little bit of it. This whole watching soccer, I should say, World Cup. I don't want to just give credit to FIFA, but
Yeah,
just
it's not just FIFA. Soccer's a yeah.
it's soccer. It's
Yeah.
football, soccer,
No,
right?
it's
Football is
absolutely.
life. All right. So you knew it had
And
to
he's
go
on a
ahead.
team now, so football is life.
I know. New Mexico. So that's very cool. But it's it's huge energy and it's a huge um simile. What's the word I'm looking for when it's the same metaphor?
Oh yeah,
Huge, it's huge
for what's
metaphor for
going on in
life,
life.
right?
Yeah, it is. And I think what you said um when you were talking about like bringing yourself to your communities and carrying that forward,
Hmm.
like no right or wrong, no this community over that community or this political party over that political party is bringing your whole self, being who you need to be and like being the person your dog or your cat thinks you are.
Yeah. Being authentic,
Yeah.
right? Be the person that, I mean, I think that there's that quote, if you didn't know how old you were, how old would you be, right? If you didn't know your birthday, how old
Satchel
would you be?
Paige, man.
Is that who it was? Satchel Paige. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so it's the same kind of theory. If you had never been a jerk and you were always just this really cool person, or this always really, you always lived the way that you wanted to be perceived and live, what would that be like? And why
Be
not?
like Holland. Like, I mean, at least what it was being portrayed, like he was here living the experience.
Oh my God. And you
He was
have to go, yeah,
just
you'd have
living.
to go watch his channel and things. I mean, for, go um from the Norwegian team. Talk about someone who just radiates pure joy.
Yeah.
Maybe not this evening, but normally is radiating pure joy. And it's such a pleasure, right? And when you get to watch somebody who just loves, loves, loves what he does that much and is having such a freaking good time. And like, oh, I don't know, why aren't you having a good time? That's on you. I'm having a great time. And he's gone, right? And yes, that's how we should be living everything. I mean, that's spirit. That's huge spirit momentum, right? Where we're pulling everything in to just live our best, not yours, not yours, not yours, not anybody else, but your internal, what's my best life? What's that look like?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just so powerful. The
It
whole
is powerful. I think the other thing that's really powerful with sports is it's kind of a safe space for all of us to be there and like you're allowed to cry over sports. You may have
yeah,
never cried about your divorce or your parent dying or your friend dying or your own burnout or, but sports is kind of a safe container where it's culturally acceptable to cry about things happening, like because we've all stepped into that collective energy together and no one's going to judge you for that. And,
right? It's
you
a good
know,
opportunity that if it really was a bad week last week, this is a good opportunity to get it
right.
all out. No one will know the difference.
Your emotion isn't about the missed penalty, but no one else needs to know about that.
Right? This is just the icing on the cake of your day. So there you go. Let it go. Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
that
For
collective
sure.
emotion. Because
Uh-huh.
we spend a lot of time talking about personal energy, but like that's it. I mean, sports is really a collective emotional weather.
Yeah. And it's sometimes we just, like you said, we don't need less emotion. We need to know how to work through what we already have and what we possess. And we need to embrace it in those moments when it is popping up, right? Quit pushing it down. Just acknowledge it, move on. I mean, I'm thinking about it like even astrologically for this week, we have a new moon coming up, for example.
Mm.
New moon energy in Cancer. Guess what? Cancer is all about emotion and home and family. It's new moon energy, but it's also, we have a Mercury that is retrograding in Cancer as well. That is like a scream for internal stuff. That's what that's telling us all is it's like, okay, you got to go in. You're going in. And so as you're doing new moon, which is you're setting intentions and you're looking at all of that, and by the end of the week, we're kind of moving into that first quarter. Well, that's when intention starts really picking up steam, right? Well, you're doing that at the same time that you're dealing with the emotional internal look at yourself, especially around communications, because it is Mercury retrograding in Cancer. So, what internal
Mm,
communications do you need to have with yourself? Okay. And how
that's
do you,
deep.
right? Well, but that's what it boils down to. And it's not just shadow work, but it
Right,
is,
right.
it is having an honest internal conversation with yourself. And it is um setting your intentions around what is it for me as I think about this, where's the healing? Where am I looking at familial or emotional or that type of thing? It's not like just Chiron type stuff, but for me, that's kind of where I'm headed for this release. And now, Germany was out, US was out, Norway's out. I got other healing to do now, right?
Right? Totally.
Oh, God. And I don't want to forget. So while I'm just thinking about the astrology, because there is kind of a big one happening at the end of the week. So Uranus will trine um, Pluto, which is retrograde right now. And you'll see it all over the place, how rare it is and so on, only because these two planets are very slow moving planets. So it's generational, right? This won't have happened before for us in our lifetime. And it's a trine. It's not like it's exact or conjunct, but trines are nice, even flowing, harmonious, which is very, very good for us because Pluto and Uranus alone mm, wouldn't necessarily bring on all that lovey harmony. But this is new things breaking through for you. This is positive. This is harmony. And so I think that's just kind of the icing on the cake for us this week with all the other emotion, right? We've got some other
Mhm.
um, different transits coming up this week as well, but you can check out, of course, Astrological Insights, or if you're a member, you get our email that's got the full week breakdown. But
With your journal prompts and all the cool
with all
stuff.
your journal prompts and everything every day, there's so
For
much.
those of you who aren't members, that email by itself is worth its weight. So anyway,
Yeah,
sorry. Plug.
right. Yeah, thank you. Um, but I just think it's going to be a heavy emotional week anyway. And we're about to go into, we've got one more game tonight, and then we've got our semifinals, and
Hmm.
then we're there. It almost feels like a letdown. So, I mean, because it's kind of like the climax, right? Same as like when we get to Super Bowl, when you hit that Super Bowl Sunday, and then you go, oh, well, now what? And the commercials were the game was but still it was better than nothing, right? Now what?
Yeah, but like when we do end all of this, it is going to be a letdown because we've had things to look forward to. Like we've been having this plan and things that we're going to do, things that we're going to watch, something. So, maybe we're not grieving the event's end as much as like we're grieving that we had all of those things to do. We had this participation, the things we could talk about at the water cooler or on the Zoom meetings, or,
Right?
I'm in Slack channels that are just World Cup related.
Right. And we're
Yeah.
texting. I mean, during games, it's like, oh, wait, I have a 30-second delay or a 15-second delay here. Don't tell me
Right.
that yet.
Oh,
God,
shh.
I didn't know. Ah, but it does bring people together because we're all stopping and paying attention to the same thing for a short amount of time.
Well, you know what? And maybe that's why events like this matter. It's because for
Exactly.
a little while, millions of people stop paying attention to everything that's dividing them. And they sit together in their living rooms, or they text people that they haven't talked to in months, or they hug strangers, or we believe that the impossible things might happen.
Yes, exactly. Because it does unite us. And
It
in
does.
those moments, it is nothing but hope. And it is hope and joy. And that is so fun, right? Even if it's the other team is not your team, you're still there's still camaraderie in that. And I think that's a really important lesson for everybody to take forward from here through July 19th and beyond, right? After the final is over and we move into preseason for the NFL. But
Right?
it's I'm like
Yeah, there's always there's going to
that's a
be
huge
something.
bonus too this year, right? There's no time without sports, which is very good. But a reminder, and it's a powerful reminder, and I know we're using that word, or I am a lot today, but it is. It's so important to take that same attitude and the things that you felt if you've been watching these events, or if you've been even feeling the emotion from other people that you're watching the events. Like, I don't get it, but they're on the news and they're kind of funny. Or the social media is all lit up with all these crazy people wearing Viking hats. What are they doing? Or, or the Scottish people walking through Boston, wiping out Boston of beer, which is just
Which is hysterical.
epic. Epic. Way to go to the Scottish population, right? But those are the kind of things, excuse me, that we all need to take from this. And just remember, not just this next week, not just this next month, but really as we go through continually. Number one, for those of that are in this country, we're all Americans
Hmm.
and we're all human beings. Every one of us. If you were blind, you wouldn't know somebody else was brown or black or white or short or tall or fat or thin. You wouldn't know.
You feel their humanity, not their, yeah,
Exactly. You
not
got to
their
live with your
labels.
blinders on sometimes. And so take the emotion, take the hope, take the good that's coming from this, is really what I'm feeling from the whole thing. I don't
You
know.
know, I had a couple questions I was going to ask you, and that was one. It was like, if someone watched humanity through a World Cup instead of watching the game, what would they learn about us? And I think that that was a really good answer. So I'm not going to ask that one.
Oh, good.
Just want it noted on here because I took time to make questions, so I'm going to say them. Um, and then another one that I think you were kind of going down this trajectory, so this is why I kind of stopped you. But do you think hope is contagious?
Yes. Don't you? I mean, I look at those. Yes. And I guess another reason I would say that, I mean, I've got a couple of thoughts going through my mind, clearly squirreling, but when you walk into a living room or into a restaurant, bar, store, and people are wearing the jerseys and they're just like, all lit up, and you kind of go, huh, well, I'm gonna have to go see what that is. Next thing
Yeah,
you know, you're in it. And then they're in it. It's kind of like a bad game or a really good game, I guess I should say, of telephone, old school telephone, right? Where it's like I tell you something and then you tell the next person and you kind of see where it's going to end up. But this is one where we all end up on the same page still at the end, and woo, everybody's got the same answer.
yeah,
It's cool.
that's a good way to put it.
It was just fun. It's still fun. I mean, okay, go England.
Right?
I'm there. But
All
I love
right.
Messi from Argentina, and Switzerland's amazing. Sorry, Spain.
Yeah, there's players I don't like too, but we won't go there. Um, so the last question I was going to ask is, what's the hardest you've ever rooted for somebody?
Oh, God.
I know it's a weird question, right? So okay, before you
A
answer,
hu-
because that can
yeah.
that can really step us into things that are not good. But before you answer is, can you turn that into yourself and root for yourself that hard?
And it's so funny that you say that because as you were saying that, I was like, I almost said myself. The reason
That's
being,
good. That's we are very self-aware though.
not generally. So I'm kind of proud of myself for that
I'm
one.
very proud of you too.
Thank you. Because normally I wouldn't say that. I would have been like, oh, the Broncos in 97, or the, you know what I mean, or the Avs during the first Stanley Cup in the mid 90s, and when they moved over, whatever.
Right, right.
Um or like one of the kids when they're watching their soccer. Just different things, so many things pop in your mind, but me going through my weight loss and then getting rid of smoking, those I think were two of my times that I rooted for myself the hardest. And I still do. Because I'll still look in the mirror at certain times, as anybody who's fought any kind of addiction at all will do, and be like, good job. Yeah, you.
I think it would be really good. I love those examples. That's awesome. I think it would be really good as a society if we could root for everybody that way. Like if we could remove the labels or people who are homeless or like all of the different labels we put on everybody.
Hmm.
If we could see each other just in a humanitarian way and root for everybody, what a different world we would live in.
Right?
And I think that's what the World Cup helped us see is like we're all human. We're all doesn't matter what we look like or what labels we carry or if we're the CEO or you know,
Or the janitor.
it just doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Because it's still ultimately you're putting we as human beings are putting titles based on programming. We could go way down that rabbit hole, right? Talking about the old
The
four agreements.
importance of people, right?
Instead of
And
just
yeah,
saying this is a person in front of me that also has an entire life and also has all their worries and also has family and or children and or pets and or a past and or a future, just like
yeah,
mine.
equally important, humanity. It's all
Exactly.
humanity.
Exactly. We're all the same. And it's something, going deeper. So thinking about this morning taking a shower, ironically, I looked at one of my fingernails and I'm like, to me, this looks so tiny, just looking at like your fingernail on your body. And then you think about how tiny we look from the universe, that we're a speck, we're an atom.
Right.
And it's
Oh yeah, millions
it's
of
very, very
galaxies and
humbling
yeah,
when you sit there and go, okay, I'm looking at this and thinking how big I am. And then you look at it like this and go, oh, look, you're not even the size of the tip of my pencil.
perspective.
And
Yeah.
that each one of us is the same little tip of the pencil to the rest of the universe.
Yeah, and that those tip of pencils, there's a million on a piece of grain of sand, and that grain of
Right,
sand,
right.
right? Like
And
we're
and the
yeah,
grain of sand is circling around these other little grains of sand over here. And okay, so
and
hello.
we're all in a cat's collar.
Right?
Ah, isn't that Men in Black?
Oh my God,
Uh,
that's so funny. Oh, okay. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I think we've rabbit holed as much as I'm going to, but
Right.
this isn't over. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing is this whole thing because it's like if you're thinking about this and you think about, okay, what am I really rooting for? And if it's not, we got to get past just like you said, like you were talking about, not just rooting for our favorite team, but rooting for ourselves and then rooting for your neighbor and rooting for the people you work with. Just be a cheerleader. No one needs to be a villain. Everybody can be a cheerleader. And I mean that in the most positive way possible. And I'm thinking about, if we
It's
were being
hard. It's hard though. Like, but do what you can. Root for yourself.
show up for you first,
Yep.
because
Put
if
your
you,
oxygen mask on first, folks.
yep, exactly. Good one. And the airlines would be so proud of you.
You
But if
know,
you
if
put,
you fly all the time, that's all you hear.
right, you hear it, you can do it in your sleep. You're like,
Right.
hello.
Let me tell you about your seatbelt from the 1970s.
Right. Right. And if you don't know how to use a seatbelt by now, you probably shouldn't be on a plane, just saying. Um, but there, yeah. But I digress with my great attitude about loving everybody. But that's just a statement of fact, folks.
Well, okay, so but this is
There's
the
a difference
mistake. Be the
between
goldfish, move on. Like, here we go. Present moment, here we go.
present moment, fishy, fishy,
So many
fishy.
things to learn.
I
Like,
know. What I need to learn is to get a tank of goldfish so that I can watch them and keep them alive to keep myself, moving as
yeah,
a
don't
fish.
have piranhas then.
No promise. No, we already know some of those. We're good. We have that basis covered. All right.
Right.
On all of that, I will say if you feel like you are missing community in your life, find one. If
Find
you,
ours.
we would, that would be our first choice. Come join Town Square. It's first 30 days are free. It's only $11 a month after that. And we have 4 to 6 live workshops, depending, because I don't do Reiki every month, group Reiki, but I do it during the Sabbats.
And the weekly astrology emails we were talking
We
about
have
that
the
are
weekly astrology
amazing.
emails, all of the different daily prompts that are exclusive to our members. Plus, we have the internal development series. We have, or intuitive
Creative
development
pathways.
series, creative pathways. couple of free courses that are on there, plus you get discounts on our services and other courses. So giant savings for 11 bucks a month. And
And community on top of all of it. So
exactly, which
it's
is the
awesome.
main part of it. It's an
Right.
emotional support buddy, right? So
Yeah.
when you don't feel like you can be a cheerleader for somebody else, ask someone to be a cheerleader for you, because that is going to be sometimes the biggest thing we need is to have that cheerleader stand there and say, "Hey, be the goldfish.
Be the goldfish.
Be the goldfish." Yep. I think that's it.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
good way to end it. Be the goldfish, people.
Be the goldfish. All right. From high heels to happy feels and from immersive spirit, I'm Stephanie.
I'm Natalie.
Have a fantastic week ahead. We look forward to seeing you in our town square community, immersive-spirit.com. We'll see you there.